Hi guys, it's Erin from Gidra's Florals. It is the middle of June, so we are going to do a farm and garden tour. I wanted to start out here. You can see the field is behind me. Our barn shed is right here. I wanted to show you this spot as a little update on our seed experiment from this winter, where we just tossed out some seeds underneath of this holly tree here to see what would come up. So right here, a whole bunch of weeds. This right here is agrostemma. So these actually took. And there's also these fuzzy little guys. Those are some of the love in the mist that we put in there. We tossed in. I'm still waiting because it just is getting warm now to see if any of the other seeds come up. I gotta weed out the rest of the stuff that's there, but it's pretty exciting. At least some of the seeds that we tossed out took. Okay, so I'm gonna start right here and then we'll go through the field. Right now, again, more weeding, the grass is taking over, but our little band of lilies is starting to bloom. This whole strip right here, we planted a whole bunch of lilies last year in this spot, and they're super dark red, beautiful, and they're getting ready to go. It's really exciting. I've been waiting for this to come for well, all year long. I do anticipate that we're gonna have a bit of a storm. The last week it's finally warmed up. It's been in the mid 70s for the whole week. And of course that couldn't last very long here this year. So we're headed back down tomorrow. Today is Thursday. Friday it'll be close to the same, but then Saturday it's supposed to be, we'll be lucky if we hit 50 degrees. And it's supposed to be thunder and lightning and stormy all day long. But if the long range forecast is right, that's probably our last big storm, at least for a little while, and it's gonna stay warm. It's been a long spring. You see all my chickens following me around. It's been a long spring, long cool spring, and I've been waiting this whole time for the weather to get good, and now it's finally here. So the flowers are starting to come. Okay, so we're just gonna go row by row. So starting with this row, this is all weeds. This is part of my plan for this weekend. Probably, I'm trying to get out here before the storm, weed this all out, and then I want to direct sow zinnias and cosmos and whatever else I have that I can put in here. This row has the celosia, which are doing really well. They don't like the cold at all. So this is the first time that they've been sort of happy. A few weeds, but not too bad. This little bit is Ami, I don't know how you say it. And then there's some Dara back there and some more weeds that I'm gonna pull and direct sow hopefully this weekend. It is Father's Day. We do have plans out of town, but I should have the mornings, so I'll try to get that all done. Okay, so the next row right here, look at this. This is on my status. It is doing really good, and this I think is the rat tail status. It's starting to, yep, look at here. It's starting to bloom, which is super exciting. I can't wait. And then down here at the end of this row, this is gomphrena and a bunch of feverfew that keeps popping up everywhere. But either way, the gomphrena is loving the heat, so is the status, and it's all doing really well. Everything's finally getting its chance. This next row has, these are all the forget-me-nots. Oh, look, it's getting ready to shoot up some blooms. We have blue and pink, and this cress seeded itself. I'm okay with that. More weeds, I guess, but we have the saponaria. Aren't those pretty? I gotta get out here and cut what's left of them for my CSA bouquets this weekend. And then we've got more cress, and then our third round of sunflowers that are looking really good. Really good. I gotta get out here with some stakes and get that settled, but they're happy and healthy. They look a little yellow, but I think that it's because we've had so much rain that it's finally getting there. Down this row, this whole bit here, I swear this has grown like 6 inches in the last week. This is all our straw flowers. And down here, oh geez, I'm drawing a blank. Straw flower and nope, can't think of it. But everything, like I said, everything is doing really good. It's super happy. We're getting it finally up and going. Here is all of our basil. They're still tiny. It's been so cold. They don't like to be cold, but actually this guy, it's what, 6, 7, 8 inches tall. It's doing pretty good. So that's a good sign. This is the lemon basil that I love so much. If you're gonna grow any basil, that's my recommendation. The scent is just, oh, it's intoxicating. This little bit, this is honeywort, and look, the honeywort is blooming too. I'm gonna cut a bunch of this for this weekend. Because of the storm, we're not gonna go do the farmer's market. There won't be any people there. I don't have a lot of actual flowers yet, so we're gonna bypass it this weekend. But the flowers over the next week, with the weather getting warm, they should be in full roar. But that just means that the flowers that we do have are gonna go into all of my CSA bouquets, and they're gonna get the best of the best for sure. They always do, but they'll get more of everything because we'll have a bit more. Okay, the rest of this row is all bee balm. I love bee balm. It's a great filler flower. It gets tall and sort of spiky, and there's this half of this that I have is sort of a light lavendery purple, and the other bit is more of a plum purple. It's so beautiful. I can't think of all the right adjectives to use, but it's gorgeous, and it does really well. I do need to stake that whole row because it tends to flop over like a black-eyed Susan will. So that's one of my projects coming before it gets too big, is to buy more rebar, get stakes in the ground so that I can keep it all upright and not lose a bunch of flowers this year. I've learned that lesson, hopefully. This row, this is all the Lavatera. This, my goodness, it's growing so much. Everything was so tiny for so long, and now it's just shooting up. And some of these are 18 inches tall, which is fantastic. And then these little, they're trying to put on buds already. The cool thing about Lavatera is that it'll bloom, and you can cut the stem, but it'll keep growing taller and taller, and it'll keep blooming. So if you don't get to a stem on it 1 week, you can pull off those seeds, the spent blooms, and it'll just keep going, kind of like a gladiola or something else. It's a really good, long-lasting plant. We have our our volunteer cosmos, which I absolutely love. They self-seeded, which means that they're a mix of whatever flowers, whatever cosmos we had out here. They've pollinated, cross-pollinated, and created their own. I'm a pretty big fan of this particular one. I think it's gorgeous. Next up, we have our asters. These are quite lovely. They're growing, they're doing good, they're happy. Asters we always struggle a little bit with because they get asters yellow. As soon as it gets rainy and windy after they start to flower, or rainy and at all cold, they basically shut down. The foliage will turn yellow. But if I can get a good flush of flowers out of them before any of that happens, it's fantastic. They're so lovely. They're almost something kind of like a chrysanthemum or something along those lines. They're just the best. And then the rest of this row is more honeywort, and there's more down here that are blooming. They're magical. If you didn't know what it was, you you wouldn't know what it was if you hadn't seen it before. Look at that. It's both, it's blue and purple and silvery and green and all on the same stem, and it's just, oh, I love that so much. And these are weeds, but they make really good filler for your bouquets. This next row, this is all snapdragons. This is the second succession of them. This bit right here and then that whole bit up there is all snapdragons. And this is our black-eyed Susans. These, I have the stakes and I have the Hortonova netting. I just need to get it up here so that when they start shooting up like this one is, they can be stabilized, because these ones, black-eyed Susans for me, definitely want to flop over. They always want to lay on the ground, and then they lay down and then they curve up, and then you have either short stems or unusable stems, and you can't correct that. Once that happens, your plant is basically useless. They can be, I shouldn't say that, they can be cut and used in small, like my jar arrangements, like my CSA bouquets that I put into vases. Shorter stems are okay for that, but a regular market bouquet, you just can't do it. Okay, so this next row, like I said, this is all snapdragons, and some of them are very tall and loving life and getting ready to go. We did get the netting down for this, so hopefully this storm that's coming won't knock it all over. These are the stalk, the second round of stalk. It's starting to bloom, which is exciting. I don't know if you've ever smelled stalk, but it's kind of got a clove spice scent that's just, oh, it's intoxicating. I made a bouquet for my friend Roxanne, who helped with the last market. I brought it into her in arrangement, and it had some stalk in it, and I swear that whole corner of the office smelled like stalk. It was the best. Okay, let's see. And the next row, these are where the zinnias start. And the slugs are going to town. I need to put slug bait down. Man, they're going after them. I will take care of that today. But all three of these rows, this one, and this one, they're all zinnias. These are the, I think these, yeah, these are the floret ones. They're a little, for me, they're a little wimpier, but we'll see how the season goes. These are the Queen Lime series. They're usually a little more prone to disease and bugs than others, but they're looking pretty healthy, actually. They're doing pretty good. Those go all the way down. The floret goes, oh, I think to right around here, and then they turn into Benary's Giants. And those ones, this whole row is Benary's Giants. These guys are tough. They're hardy. They grow like crazy. And the flowers are gigantic. They're called Benary's Giants for a reason. They do really, really well as soon as it starts to warm up, which we're finally there now. Last year I only had 2 rows of zinnias, and this year we went for 3. We took out one of the dahlia rows because the zinnias are more practical for what I do. And I'm hopeful, really hopeful, that all of these will do good. And I'm planning to put the zinnias at that other row at the front, or the back side of the field. I guess it's sort of the front side of the field. Either way, the last row down there, lots of zinnias down there too, because man, they're pretty easy to grow. They do well in a bouquet. They come in such a range of colors that you can use them in most applications, at least as far as I'm concerned, what works for me. Our peony garden here, there's a few that I've let blow out just because I like them too. I want to enjoy them. But most all of these peonies I have cut, as you can see. There's still a few dozen in the cooler, so they'll be good for next week too. I just did a video the other day on all of the dahlias that we put out, put in the ground, what all the varieties are, what all my favorites are, well, the tried and trues and the ones that I grew from seed. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this crop this year. I have fewer varieties than I've grown in the past, but there's more of each, and that I'm really looking forward to. It's more volume of the few that I really love is hopefully going to be more efficient for me. Okay, this row is the first succession of snapdragons. Man, these guys, they're about to bloom. Oh, look at, we should have blooms next week on some of these guys. Look at that. Beautiful. I love it. Yeah, these are getting ready. And then this is the first round of stock. Look at these guys. My goodness, I can't get over it. They're so pretty, and just standing here, the scent is intoxicating. Look at that. All of them. So fun. This row back here is all scented geraniums, chrysanthemums, and eucalyptus, actually. Look at that. If you, hang on, let me get over there. The eucalyptus, some of these are getting quite big. You see this one? It's cool. Eucalyptus, I only get to cut it for probably the last month of the market season because it takes so long in our climate for them to grow. And I can only grow them as annuals simply because they're a water pump and we have a well and a septic, and I don't want their roots to go infiltrate and do anything weird. But this, they're so pretty, and I love having them at the end of the season, so I'm always going to give up some bed space for that. And then the scented geraniums, these guys, we took cuttings at the end of the season last year, grew them on in the greenhouse all winter, and man, these are happy plants. These also, it'll take till mid-August for these to be really long stems and good for me, but totally worth it to use up the space for that. And then sunflowers. Oh my goodness, check it out. We have our first blooms, but there's a real one over here. So exciting. Sunflowers. Oh, yeah, this is just the beginning. Look at that. Look at that guy. Ah, that makes me so happy. Yesterday we didn't have blooms. Today we have blooms. I'll probably, tomorrow I need to cut for my CSA bouquets, so I will come out here tomorrow and take care of those. Yeah, makes me so happy. So this next row, these are cosmos. Look, I gotta keep pinching these because they just need to keep pinching them and they'll keep spreading out and getting taller. Oh, look at this. Isn't that gorgeous? It's such a cool combination. I'm not a huge fan of like multicolored flowers most of the time, but some, like those cosmos, are just perfect. My amaranth, this one is coral, not coral charm, coral something. I'll put the name on the screen. It's already starting to put out its tendrils. I will pinch this one back. Maybe I'll cut that for one of my CSAs. But so all of these are amaranth, and they're all doing real good. They love the heat too. This one is Autumn Touch. It's such a cool color. This kind of coppery gold color, one spike will have that coppery gold on one side and the green on the other on the same flower. It's just amazing. I love it so much. This guy, this is all the weird Canterbury bells that bloom super short. I just need to take these out because they're not going to do anything more. And we have foxglove that is supposed to bloom this year. I think I'll give it a little, another month, and then if it's not going to do anything, I want to take this whole row out so I can prep it and put some fast growing, maybe some more sunflowers in here. Same with this. This is more Canterbury bells that we planted last fall or last June. I just did a biennial video a few days ago, or I don't know, recently, And it talked about how we grow all these are all biennials: foxglove, sweet William, sweet rocket, Canterbury bells. How I grow them to trick the system or trick the seasons for it. And that's what these are. So soon, they're huge. In the not too distant future, they should be putting up bloom spikes and getting going. I'm pretty excited for those. And then the sweet William, aren't they pretty? I'm going to see if I can do it, dig those out and plant them out, because they really are perennials here. So I'm going to give that a go. We do have some foxglove that, it's always funny, foxglove, the wild foxglove, but this one is different. It's a different kind, it's a pink. All of these ones back here are like lavender and white, and this one is pink, and the blooms are closer together, easier to use in an arrangement. So I'm hopeful soon that we'll get some more off of these. All of these are the same one. And then this last row, we've talked before, this is all the red leaf hibiscus. These guys are super happy with life. They grow like gangbusters once it heats up. But this whole section back here, the rabbits ate. So I think there might be some more. I think it's I want to put amaranth, direct sow, some amaranth, maybe some cosmos, some more cosmos, but definitely some more amaranth, and then we'll go from there. We have my raspberries that I really truly grow for foliage. They have fruit. Look at that. Well, maybe a week, and that one will be good. Yeah. Okay, so this row, it's sort of a row, is along the fence. This is where I grow my sweet peas. You can see the sweet pea vines. Some of them are starting to bloom. Sweet peas they don't like the heat. So when we were up in the 80s, they didn't really like that very much. But being in the 70s is pretty good for them. So hopefully I can get a few more weeks out of these since they just started to bloom. Look at these guys. Aren't they the best? They're so pretty. This is gorgeous. Oh, I love it, I love it, I love it. I'll do a flower focus video on sweet peas, because a couple of these they're different and interesting, especially these ones. These are called Blue Shift. I'll do a flower focus and we'll talk about sweet peas, how to harvest, how to handle them post-harvest, how long they last, and then my favorite varieties. I'll do one of those here in the near future while we still have them to play with. Okay, so these rows, this one is we grew yarrow from seed, and these guys are doing pretty good. There's a few that I think we lost over here to the rabbits, and we've got blackberries that never end. But overall, it's a pretty good little crop. And then this is all the lupin that we grew from seed. They also look pretty happy. This row is still a weedy mess. I haven't fixed it, but I have, and we still have aphids like crazy. Look at that. Those lupin aphids, man. They're huge and gross. Sorry if you don't like bugs, but they're real, they're there. I'm just gonna let them have it for now. I have ladybugs on their way soon, so I can put in here, and hopefully they can do some damage on the aphids. And then I'll cut them back and it'll reflush and hopefully bless the aphids. This row here has, again, more weeds. This whole little bit along here is all herbs. This is thyme and mint and more mint, or thyme, oregano, mint, lavender, chives, this whole edge. But this back here, these are echinacea that are growing up, and oh, look, that one's even putting on a bloom. They'll take a little while to actually bloom, but they're doing pretty good. This is more yarrow that I grew from seed, this whole strip back here. There's more back here that I need to keep John from mowing. But the yarrow, it's getting ready to go. That next batch, that probably won't bloom for a couple of months, but that's kind of good, because this batch, this existing perennial bed, these will bloom out. I'll cut them back, and hopefully, if timing works right, that batch will start to bloom. When I cut that back, this group will be blooming again, because I usually, but if I could talk, I usually can get 2 successions of yarrow in a season. If we're warm enough, we'll see this year. And then this last row in here is it's more herbs along here. This is a really cool variegated oregano, some apple mint. Look how tall this is. It's like, I don't know, 2 feet tall. It's perfect for bouquets. We have our delphinium that has already been cut back, and then more echinacea. It's working on flowers. And we have our lavender with a bee. Can you see that guy? We have so many bumblebees this year. It's really, it makes me happy. Okay, so that's the field. It's really exciting right now. Things are getting really going. So I'm gonna take you out and we'll walk the rest of the gardens. Our wisteria vine is finally getting ready to bloom. It's a little late in the season. Oh, look at that. And we probably made a bad choice putting it on this little arbor, but it's worth it. We'll give it a go. I'll probably be cutting the heck out of it anyway. So this garden here is just we don't have a name for it. It's just the garden out front of the flower field. And John put all kinds of perennials in a few weeks ago. We have all kinds of these ladies mantle that are blooming. I love ladies mantle so much. We have that big old grass, a whole bunch of weeds. The camellias. We have geum, all these beautiful, I love these. I can't get enough of them. There's some sedum, and obviously the peonies. And John's favorite tree, his chocolate mimosa, it tried to die. Last year it was a big tree. It tried to die on us though, so cut it back, but it's coming, it's growing. Yeah, and just, we have some, you know, a bunch of different plants. This really old heuchera, it's huge. That's probably 3.5 feet wide, 2 feet tall. It loves its home. And this, another one of John's favorite trees, this crab apple. All the little apples on it. And then some phlox back there. This guy's gonna have to get moved. It turns beautiful colors in the fall, but it's too big for its spot. Okay, John finally, thankfully for him, he helped me out and he finally got my eryngium planted over here. They're all a little weary from being in pots too long, but this guy is blooming. Soon it'll color up. I have to avoid this whole section currently because of the little tractor lot or sprinkler. It's really cool, but it's in the way, so we'll skip this one. The peonies have bloomed out, the roses are going, the honeysuckle is still, I can show you the honeysuckle from the back side. It's just the best. I can't get over it. Oh, that was a woodpecker. There's honeysuckle. Look at them. They just, the scent, it's kind of, it's not spicy like the stalk, but the intensity of it reminds me of the stalk. And here's the back of the garden bed. This is such a cool plant. We call it the Brian plant because our good friend Brian gave us one years and years ago when we first moved in here. I can't think of what it's actually called, but it loves its spot in the shade. This little garden, there's just a few things. A flopped over peony. Everything got good and watered today. Yep, not a whole lot in here. This lavender I grew from seed, actually. It's looking pretty happy. We put one of our new lilacs right there. This is a creeping trumpet. Just wait till it starts to bloom. It's so cool. This beautiful hydrangea. There is some real benefit to living in a area that has acidic soil. The blue hydrangeas are some of my favorites. Our sedum's doing great. It's huge. And our veggie garden that can be kind of a mess at times, but John did some work in here and it's looking really good. He weeded out the calendula. This all self-seeded. And that's the prettiest. It's not like the typical daisy dandelion like this guy, calendula, but this kind of creamy color with the bronze on the back. I love it. We had some tomatoes and peppers and basil. Oh, this basil is super tiny. It's actually basil. It's so funny. John's sunflowers and his artichoke. Some corn just for the aesthetics. Check out this blueberry. Look at this. Look at all the fruit that's on this plant. Can you see that? It's just absolutely loaded. I hope that we can get to this before the birds do. They tend to like blueberries as much as we do. This is self-seeded nasturtium. All of the irises are looking pretty good. Just got them weeded again and all that watered, fertilized. They're pretty happy. Our self-seeded cilantro is looking good. The onions and garlic, the garlic is not too much longer, a few more weeks, and it'll probably start to be done. And these are all just weeds, so I'm not going to spend too much time on that. 3 more spots I want to show you, and then we'll call it a day. So these front gardens, I want to show you the pots that we put together, because they're just magnificent. This guy has one of my seed dahlias in it and a bunch of stock that I had left over. My one eucalyptus in a pot. These are super petunias from Proven Winners. They're just so vibrant. They've only been in there for a couple of weeks and they're just huge. These are African daisies that I grew from seed. I didn't properly care for them and pinch them when I should have, but that's okay. I like the color. Let's see. And then more of the same, some different herbs. But these guys, this is a Supertunia Vista bubblegum, and it is gigantic. There's one plant in that pot, and it's been there for, I don't know, 6 weeks max. I'd have to go back and look how long ago we planted it, but it's gigantic, and it's got the whole summer left to grow. I am officially impressed. These flowers are gigantic. So cool. We've already decided that next year I think I want to buy a bunch of those. Probably, I don't know, probably won't need more than 10, and do the front part of this garden all along the front. Plant those up and let them fill in, and how beautiful would that be? And the other one is well, we have another bubblegum here, but this Bordeaux, this color, don't mind the dog hair that's everywhere, this color is probably my favorite. It's not quite as vigorous as the bubblegum, but it's still, that's one plant. It got planted at the same time as the bubblegum, and it's gigantic. I don't know how it's going to last all season in that pot. It might have to get moved. The phlox is starting to bloom. It's such a pretty garden this time of year. And then all of this garden, it looks pretty close to the same, except the peonies have all flopped now. I gotta cut them all back. They're done for the season. We did put some new daisies and salvias in here, perennials. I'm hoping that they'll like their spot and do good. Look at this. This is a ginkgo. Isn't that the coolest shape? I love them. Our blue spruce, which I really like. It kind of, we have most of the colors, right? You need blue. We have some red in that crabapple, and the barberry over here, and then all the green. It's a really pretty, it's a pretty vignette through there. And the birds are fat and happy on the bird feeder. Peonies, aren't they the best? And John's new prized possession is this cool little tiny blue spruce. I don't know what kind it is, some Japanese variety. It's just interesting. It's very small, and it'll stay very small. Okay, and then I lied, there's 2 more spots. I want to show you the roses and then the St. Francis garden up there. We had a bit of a thrip issue, but look at these. Aren't they amazing? I love these roses. All these David Austins, they're so gorgeous. We had a bit of a thrip issue that, unfortunately, I wasn't able to use a lot of the first blooms off of the roses because of the thrips, but I ordered a whole bunch of beneficial insects from Nature's Good Guys. I got pirate bugs and mites and nematodes and something else. I can't remember what it was. I'll think of it. I'll put it up there. But they seem to have been happily doing their job, because there are very few mites left on these plants. It's really exciting. I didn't want to spray. I mean, I will if I have to, with some organic, like Captain Jack's dead bug, but I don't want to if I don't have to. And at the moment, the beneficial insects seem to be doing their job. The rest of this whole garden just needs to be cleared out. That's in the very near future. Clear it all out. This is all the weeds along with the daffodil foliage. That's where all the tulips were. It can all just go, and I need to just get after it. I have a hard time pulling these though, just because there's so many bees all over them. I have a hard time taking that away from them. And there was a butterfly on the sweet rocket just a little bit ago. Okay, and then the last garden I want to show you is the St. Francis garden, because I've had a few videos recently where we were doing a whole bunch of planting, and I just wanted to give you a quick update. This garden, it's getting to almost shade most of the time, and it's perfect. I love it. But we planted together in a video recently these little rose campion. They have more than doubled in size. They're doing good all over here, these little silver plants. They have a really bright pink flowers when they bloom, perennials. John put a few more hostas and a couple more ferns in here, but not a whole lot. These guys, these heucheras, they were struggling pretty bad for a little while. I think I need to just cut them back and let them do their thing. We have, I think it's rust that's on here. It's a sort of a fungus that lives in the soil. So I think I need to just cut them back and let them grow on. This rose, we planted it last season, and it's finally growing or blooming. Isn't that the sweetest color? That soft yellow. It's so good. Our GM that's going to bloom all season long. It just goes and goes and goes. But we planted together these couple little ladies mantle. They have taken quite nicely. We planted all of these little echinacea that are also seeming to be happy where they're at. the Canterbury bells. This one flopped over, but this is a much better representation of what they should look like. Aren't they pretty? Oh, I love, love, love the smoke bush, always. And the last little bit, we've got sunflowers that John put in here into this bed. I have my little delphinium seedlings that we planted together. They're still alive and well. And then the snapdragons that we put in, also doing well. They won't be too far from blooming. And then the tiny little columbine that we put in a video. And they're happy. They're all growing. Everything's doing really well. Oh, and these are our extra hanging baskets. Eventually, I want to take them apart so that I can put the geraniums in this garden in and amongst everything else. I think that's going to be it for this video, guys. I apologize, it's a bit long, but there's just so much blooming right now. Maybe next time I'll do it split. You tell me in the comments whether you prefer a garden tour and a field tour separately or not. We could probably spend more time talking about plants individually if we do it that way, or you can just have one long one. So let me know in the comments which you would prefer. But yeah, this is the best. It's a great time of year. Everything is finally, all that hard work is starting to pay off, and it's so exciting. I can't wait to share over the next few weeks and months how everything is blooming and how everything grows and how happy it all gets. Hopefully, I did read in the news recently or today that there's a shift from an El Nino to a La Nina or whatever that means, but it sounds like we should have a pretty hot summer. So all those heat-loving annuals like zinnias and amaranth and cosmos are gonna really enjoy this summer. Okay guys, well, that's gonna be it. I hope you enjoyed this. If you liked it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next go round. Thanks guys.